Ivanka Trump met with former Vice President Al Gore yesterday to discuss climate policy in the new administration. As her train pulled into the little village of Władysławice, Ivanka got her first glimpse of the Gothic castle that housed Dr. von Nudnik's home for the terminally insane. The institution stood on a hilltop, silhouetted against a darkening sky, lit by occasional flashes of lightning that revealed its crumbling battlements and forbidding facade. Its barred windows seemed to stare out at her, Ivanka thought, like the eyes of a man who has lost his soul. Entering the village, the attractive blonde American found the cobbled streets strangely empty. Now and then she thought she spied a villager peeking out at her from behind the curtains of a cottage, but whenever she turned to look, there was no one there. Finally, spying a peasant pulling a cart, she approached him. "Excuse me," she said, "where is everyone? And why are you a peasant pulling a cart when it's 2016? The peasant stared at her with eyes full of fear. "The people of Władysławice do not come out of their houses this close to dark," he told her in a hushed voice, "for there is no electricity to light our way. I am a peasant and pull this cart because only our dark master is allowed to use oil in order to fly around the world in his private jet so that he can warn the people of the great cataclysm that is to come." Then the fearful peasant scurried away. Not knowing what else to do, the shapely blonde began walking into the rapidly darkening woods, ignoring the wild howling of mad dogs and environmentalists that began with the rising of the full moon. When she reached the castle, she knocked on the enormous door made of sustainable wood, and it swung open with a loud, eerie creak because there was no oil to oil it with. Ivanka stepped into the shadowy asylum, walking past one empty padded cell after another until she spied a lighted door at the end of a vaulted hallway. There, in a room ablaze with electric light and kept comfortable by an elaborate air conditioning system, she found a wild-eyed man wearing nothing but a hotel towel. "They all think me mad," the man giggled, "but 97% of the inmates of this asylum know that oil is black, and black makes the yellow sun dark, so that the world will get too cold and too hot and too wet and too dry, with hurricanes in the tropics and snowfall in winter and magic water pouring from the sky, unless everyone panics and does expensive things that have no effect." Here the man paused to grab a passing spider and devour it. "Excuse me," said Ivanka. "Are you Dr. von Nudnik?" The man looked up with his lantern-like eyes and cried, "Von Nudnik! I murdered von Nudnik and set all his inmates free to live in fear in the village, for I am Al Gore." "Oh, great," said Ivanka. "I'm here to discuss climate policy." In the village, the people shuddered as they heard the insane laughter echoing through the woods. Trigger warning, I'm Andrew Klavan, and this is The Andrew Klavan Show.
I feel hunky-dunky, life is tickety-boo. Birds are winging, also sing hunky-dunky-doo. Ship-shaped, ipsy-topsy, the world is zippity-zing.
I love that.
It's a wonderful day, hurrah, hooray, it makes me want to sing.
Hold on.
Oh, hurrah, hooray, oh, hooray, hurrah.
Oh, we got snow and a Santa hat and everything. This is the best holiday ever. This is great. All right, we're Al Gore. We're going to get back to the dangerous and madcap Al Gore. But first, we have to welcome our new sponsor. Hooray! Hey, let's welcome our Rocky Mountain Radar. And this is for some of you. I know some of you, you pay your federal income taxes and your state taxes, your local taxes, sales tax, property tax, and you think, how can I give the government even more of my money? It's like I'm not paying my fair share. And so the way the government arranges that is they set up speed traps all around so that, it says 40 miles an hour and you look at it and think, oh, I can easily go 50 miles an hour here. And pretty soon you're paying $200 and your insurance has gone up and you have to take one of those stupid classes. It's like being in prison. Not that I ever get tickets. but now we can help you avoid that with Rocky Mountain Radar. There is no better gift for Christmas, and Just for us, they're giving you 50% off their products. If you go to the website and write RockyMountainRadar.com/Andrew, and you will get 50% off on many of their products. Now, here's the thing about this. This is extraordinarily cool. The guy who invented these devices is a guy named Mike. I had a long conversation with him on the phone. He started out in the defense industry. And his job was, if you fired a guided missile at a jet, this is what Mike did. If you fired a guided missile at a jet, he invented the box that made the missile miss. Okay, this is what this guy did. He's a steely-eyed rocket man, all right? And it suddenly occurred to him, if I can make a missile, miss a fighter jet, I can befuddle a trooper's radar. And so he has invented this thing that doesn't use broadcast technology, so it's not governable by the FCC. These are the only detectors in the world that include radar and laser scrambling technology, in addition to radar and laser detection. So you know where the cop is, you know he's there. He can't read your speed because of this fast enough before you can slow down. You can slow down before he can read your speed because you are scrambling his technology. You're messing up his radar. And you can slow down before you get the ticket. This is stealth technology for your car. And here's how much these guys believe in this, all right? If you register your device with Rocky Mountain Radar, you qualify for their ticket rebate program. If you get a ticket within the first year of owning your scrambler, Rocky Mountain Radar will pay your ticket. That's how confident they are that this thing is going to save you money. Now, look, this is not true if you're traveling like 150 miles an hour. You can go on the website, go on RockyMountainRadar.com/Andrew, and they'll tell you there's some exceptions, because if you're traveling 150 miles an hour, first of all, you're an idiot, and second of all, the cop can see with his eye that you're speeding. But this is if you are just going a little extra, just a little bit extra, and they're sitting there waiting for you to pounce. This will save you this ticket, and if it doesn't, if you get a ticket anyway, they will pay the ticket because they want to know about that. Find all the details at RockyMountainRadar.com/Andrew. And if you go on and put the /Andrew in, you will get 50% off the best scramblers and detectors available. These are American made. They will virtually make you undetectable. So go to RockyMountainRadar.com/Andrew right now for 50% off this top-of-the-line equipment. Great Christmas gift. Stealth technology for your car. All right, tomorrow, mailbag. Be there. That's right. Woo is right. Woo is exactly what I wanted to say. And if you subscribe, which you should be doing, because after all, I've got to eat. If you subscribe, you can send in your questions in the mailbag, and I will answer them. Our answers are guaranteed 1,000% guaranteed correct, and will change your life, possibly even for the better. All right. Al Gore. I have to say this. I made it when Donald Trump surprised everybody and won this election. I promised myself that I was not going to let people make me panicked and hysterical. Okay, and this was true for the right as well as the left. On the right, you have people who every time he does something or sends a signal that's a little bit like not conservative, it's not in keeping with conservative principles, suddenly it's like, oh my God, he's going to govern like a Democrat. Oh my God, And I just keep saying he hasn't done anything yet. We can judge his appointments. We can say this is a good appointment, this is not a good appointment, but don't go nuts. The guy is going to play some politics, do some public relations. Let's take a look and see what he does. And on the other hand, I thought I'm not going to let. And by the way, I'm old enough to remember when Obama was such an incredible danger to the republic that it was a wonder were we ever going to survive him, and were we going to lose our gun rights, and we're going to lose our free speech rights. And suddenly a guy is in here who has pledged to protect our gun rights, protect our free speech rights, appoint conservative justices. If he does some things I don't like, I'm good with that. If he turns the ship around, I'm good with that. I'll be okay. So I'm not going to panic about that. Then on the left, they panic every time Steve Bannon, kills and devours the occasional Jew. Whatever Steve Bannon. I worry a little bit about Steve. I worry Steve is going to be in the back, in like the army uniform, going, we are going to build infrastructure. That's on Mondays through Wednesdays. He dresses like that, and then on Thursdays, I think, is when he puts on the curly blonde wig and the taffeta dress, and he sings the old, whatever happened to Baby Jane song.
I've written a letter to Daddy. His address is heaven above. I've written, dear Daddy, we miss you and wish you were with us to love.
Steve Bannon, ladies and gentlemen, singing, I've written a letter to Daddy. So Steve Bannon gets the left all hysterical. I mean, the left is just completely, they have lost their stuff. People are writing articles about how they've stopped dating because dating requires hope, and now I have no hope anymore, So I've decided I'm not going to let them make me crazy. I'm not going to let them make me crazy. I'm just going to see how he's going. Give the guy a chance, I mean, I'm taking him at his word. He's not a politician, and he's going to learn as he goes. He's obviously a lot smarter than people thought he was, so give the dude a chance. I draw the line at Al Gore. All right, Al Gore is a crazy SOB. Al Gore, first of all, he goes to Trump Tower and he visits with Trump, and here's the statement he made afterwards.
I'm here to educate you about the single biggest threat to our planet. You see, there is something out there which threatens our very existence and may be the end to the human race as we know it. I'm talking, of course, about Man-Bear-Pig.
Remember Man-Bear-Pig was 50% man, 50% bear, and 50% pig? That was So this is Al Gore, who predicted that the world was going to end in 2 years ago. And, he's just this blithering idiot. And he comes to Trump Tower, and he meets with Trump and with Ivanka. And here's, just look at it, listen to him, what he said afterwards.
The bulk of the time was with President-elect Donald Trump. I found it an extremely interesting conversation and to be continued. And I'm just going to leave it at that. Thank you.
Who asked for the meeting?
See, here's my theory about Al Gore. My theory about Al Gore was, remember the very difficult election he had with W. Bush and all the challenges, and Bush called him to concede and then called him back and said, I take back my concession. And I think after that, Al Gore went mad. I think he had a nervous breakdown, and he decided to turn it into an industry. He decided to turn his madness. Like how homemakers, that someone says, oh, you make such wonderful cupcakes. You should really sell them online or something. And the homemaker goes out and she starts to bake the cupcakes, sets up a website, and makes a lot of money. I think somebody said to Al Gore, Al, you are so crazy that you could make money off this, I mean, you could actually make a living just selling crazy. Just sell how insane Al Gore stuff. And I think it worked. It worked. This stuff. It's not that the planet has gotten a little bit warmer, but as I keep saying, a lot of our lakes used to be glaciers. Where was Al then? I mean, the planet, we're on a rock. It's spiraling into the sun. It gets warm. It gets cold. It changes over time. Measurements that take in 100 years don't mean a thing. Computer programs that attempt to predict the climate, which has too many variables to be predictable, even to computers, even to brilliant computers, they haven't been right once. They haven't been, first show me a climate prediction that works over 10 years, say, 20 years, and then I'll dismantle the government. And second of all, even if the climate is changing, there's nothing we can do about it. The Earth could care less whether we drive a car, whether we don't. I mean, obviously, we all want conservation. We all want clean air. We all want clean water. But this guy is out of his mind, and Ivanka needs to go home. I mean, Ivanka with her ideas, lovely, lovely girl, but she needs to go home. So they send out Mike Pence because everybody on the right just reacted to this, like, Al Gore, you got to be kidding me. And Trump has said that he thinks climate change is a big hoax and all this. So they send out Mike Pence. Mike Pence has become the conservative whisperer. And, like he comes out and he tells the conservatives, it's all right. This is what's really happening. So he goes on Fox, and this is what he said about this.
What I heard then, and I know former Secretary of State Henry Kissinger is going to be up meeting with the team today. And what you're seeing is, in the president-elect's efforts, is a recognition that he wants to be president of all of the people of America. And I think his sitting down with a former vice president, hearing him out, and frankly, as Vice President Gore said afterwards, looking for any common ground, particularly in the area of conservation, was reported. So it came up, I think, it's emblematic of, I think, what people are seeing in President-elect Donald Trump is what I've seen all along. And
he's all ears. He's listening.
Well, he's got firm convictions. He knows where he wants to take this country. But he's someone that wants to listen to everyone. But I can assure you that that as we go forward, you're going to continue to see the strong leadership he articulated.
Okay, so he's saying he's going to stick to his guns. He's not going to get sucked in by this. Obviously, conservation is a good thing. But it was the look on Al Gore's face that got me. Because when he came out of there and he made that statement, you know, I met Trump, he really looked like, somebody listened to me. Somebody thought these people are crazier than I am. This is great. You know, maybe just a little bit worried. All right, we have to say goodbye to our friends on Facebook and on YouTube. But come on over to thedailywire.com and you can listen to the rest of the show. If you subscribe for a lousy $8 a month, you can watch the whole show there live. You can watch Ben, and you can be part of the mailbag, which is tomorrow. So write in your questions. If you do subscribe, come on over to thedailywire.com.